The CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, who some people consider to be the worst thing to ever happen to the platform, is stepping down from her position of CEO. She sent out this email to her employees earlier today saying that today, after 25 years here, I've decided to step back from my role as the head of YouTube and start a new chapter focused on my family, health, and personal projects that I'm passionate about. And she's also going to be taking on an advisory role across Google and Alphabet. And that's pretty much the most important parts of this. You can look up the Susan Wojcicki YouTube resignation letter if you really want to read the full 8 paragraphs of text here. So the new CEO of YouTube is Neal Mohan, who was the former chief product officer of YouTube for the last 7 years or so. And before that, he was working at Google directly because remember, YouTube was purchased by Google back in 2006, shortly after its launch. And prior to working at Google, he was the senior vice president at DoubleClick, which was an internet ads company that was purchased by Google back in 2008. So based on this guy's tenure, it looks like he really understands a lot about online ads and that whole ecosystem there. You know, the whole thing that makes YouTube actually profitable, and that's probably a big reason why Neal was chosen to become the CEO. You see, even though YouTube has been the go-to video site for a lot of people over the past decade now, and these days, YouTube is also considered one of the most used search engines on the internet. So YouTube is used by a lot of people. There's a lot of eyes that are on it, but YouTube as a company hasn't actually been profitable for most of its existence. If I remember correctly, YouTube didn't actually start contributing to Google's earnings until around 2016 or 2017. Before then, it was actually losing Google money every quarter. It was something that the rest of Google and Alphabet basically had to carry. So obviously, remaining profitable and even growing the profits that YouTube is able to make are going to be one of Neal's primary duties. And like I said, given his tenure with working in ad networks, he looks like he would be a really good candidate to do that. But there's another aspect to running a company like YouTube and keeping it competitive against Twitch, Rumble, and other upcoming platforms, and that is making sure that it has all of the new features and keeping good features on the platform that make it great. And there's been a lot of feature changes to YouTube over the past decade or so that I think have made the platform worse. And these feature changes are one of the reasons that I'm really skeptical over this change in CEOs actually being good for the platform, at least from the perspective of the creators and the viewers. The main thing that I'm concerned with is that since Neal Mohan was YouTube's chief product officer previously, he actually had a lot of say over what features would get added to YouTube or changed in his previous role. The chief product officer is basically the head of product. He has the final say and the final decision over how the product, in this case the YouTube platform, changes. So when it comes to controversial changes that YouTube has made, like the removal of the dislike button, I think Neal would have had a lot more to do with that than Susan Wojcicki. Sure, she approved of the change, but Neal's approval mattered a lot more and would have had to come first. And by the way, I'm just basing all of this off of, well, Neal's own words in interviews that he's done where he talked about his role at YouTube and just from my knowledge of how other corporations work versus what his position would be doing day to day as the chief product officer. And he basically said just as much in interviews. And in this interview with Lou, he actually spoke about the motives for removing the display of dislikes on YouTube, which still to this day, I'm very skeptical about the explanation that he gave here. So in case you forgot, the main reason that YouTube said they took the dislike counts away was to stop this thing called dislike attacks, where a bunch of people would just go to a random video and they would just hit the dislike button on it without actually watching it, without actually forming an opinion of what is in the video. And YouTube said that these dislike attacks were most common on smaller creators' YouTube videos. So somehow people are finding videos from these tiny creators with, we'll say, less than 1,000 subscribers, or you know, just some small amount, where I guess a few dozen or a few hundred people can get together and bully them, and it actually really matters. And yeah, they're saying that it's hurting people that were just starting out, because real people would then see these videos with lots of dislikes and no likes balancing it out and just assume that the whole channel is trash, and they would avoid watching it. And I guess also seeing a bunch of dislikes can discourage some people from continuing to make videos, but I can't think of any examples where I've actually seen this happening to small YouTubers. The kinds of videos that I remember back when you could actually see dislikes on YouTube that got a bunch on them were either political videos, specifically videos that featured a politician that right now people don't like. And there would be a lot of dislikes if the video was posted on, say, the White House YouTube channel, or if it was posted on that politician's own YouTube channel, like if they're campaigning and they're trying to make videos like, oh, vote for me. Those videos would always get a lot of dislikes. And in some cases, YouTube would actually remove a lot of the dislikes from those videos. There's also a lot of dislikes that would show up on things like YouTube Rewind, because nobody likes those videos. And the only exception I can think of where dislike attacks, like mobs of people will specifically go out to a YouTube channel belonging to just a YouTuber and dislike it, are situations where someone makes a video, like a bigger creator makes a video exposing bad things or fraudulent behaviors from another creator. And then for a while, the creator that got exposed is going to get a lot of dislikes on their videos. But even in situations where people get exposed, the dislike attacks only last so long. That's one of the great things about internet drama, is I guess people lose interest very quickly. There's always going to be another lolcow, another con man, another person that the whole internet hates to take the spotlight from you. Like, take the Liver King, for example. This guy was exposed for being a fake fitness guru who basically preached this philosophy of living as primal as possible, getting back to nature, eating raw meat and liver and stuff like that. And a lot of his ideas are actually good, but in real life, this guy is taking tens of thousands of dollars worth of steroids every month, and he has ab implants. His abs aren't even real, and that is why he looks like this. And it's kind of ironic that he has this banner on his channel with him posing with these tribesmen that actually live the hunter-gatherer lifestyle that he preaches about and that he claims to live. This is what you would look like if you actually followed his advice, and this is what you look like if you take all of the steroids and put implants in your abs. But even though this guy has been exposed as a fraud, he's still making videos and he's still getting okay views. I mean, if you compare him to, like, let's see, okay, I guess 2 months ago was when he was exposed, right? So if we look at stuff from, I don't know, several months ago when he was doing really good, or I guess before everyone knew he was a fraud, like I guess this is where he literally got the thing for his banner from, right? 10 months ago. He's not getting quite as many views, but like he's doing okay, right? It's not like he completely dropped off. And if we click on this video, we see it's got 983 likes. Don't know how many dislikes it has, probably twice as much, but he's not, you know, his career is not over. And especially if he just goes forward, if he doesn't go back to lying about being natty, in 2 years, probably no one is even going to remember this Liver King exposure. So yeah, I think the reasoning that Neal and Susan used to justify this decision is completely bogus, and I think it also really hurts the entire creator community, especially the people that make tutorials. I know that this guy literally just started in his position as CEO, and I don't know him personally. I want to believe that he's going to take YouTube in a good direction, or at the very least, not make it worse. But it's hard to have a lot of faith in this guy, especially after hearing how he's talked about controversial changes to YouTube. In interviews, he's really, really good at giving these long word salad answers to simple questions that don't actually tell you anything, which I guess is what most companies want in their CEOs these days. So we're probably going to see more weird censorship rules on YouTube, like farmers not being able to show how to dispatch or butcher their animals because that's against community guidelines, but channels where people are purposefully putting animals in bad situations so that they can pretend to save them are abundant on the platform, or those channels that make those videos of Spider-Man or Elsa that are actually targeting children to, well, you guys know what I'm talking about. Those were on the platform for so long, and there's probably new ones that are floating around, the kids part of YouTube, but meanwhile, content that's not meant for children, content where you specifically check that box that it's not meant for children, gets demonetized because it's considered harmful or dangerous. But let me know in the comments below, do you think that Neal is going to make YouTube great again? Or do you think that things are just going to get worse from here?